Stream. Let's see here. So we are on recording. Perfect. Awesome. So welcome to day 6 of Vice Freedom Challenge. So a couple things just want to say, some of you beforehand, and hello everybody on Facebook and Zoom and YouTube, and everybody say hi to each other, including everybody into this community. It's an amazing community. It's one of the greatest things that I love about what I have created, and what has been created through me is a community of just such beautiful souls, and that we get to meet sometimes daily and sometimes weekly. And it's a joy and a treat, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. So thank you. It's an honor. Thank you for your trust. We're going to talk about that trust today in the Law of Detachment in the Vice Freedom Challenge, which is what we are in. So yesterday, some of you heard me saying that I had a realization. This is basically all about boundaries, right? I told my family I am willing to bring a puppy in because we had a friend that had their dogs had puppies, and there were 9 puppies, and I'm crazy about puppies. So we were going there with my, Alex, can we see the puppies? Alex is his name. And my son's name, not to confuse, but we would go over there almost every Sunday, seeing these little guys, grow. And the first one, after a week, was a week old. I got to hold her, and she was 2 of them actually, and they were both the runts. One was a black and tan one, and one was a black one. And so through all of this, playing with them and going to see them, I will admit, I got, the idea of having another puppy. But then I got clear. It's like, well, wait a minute. There's a reality of having a puppy, and I know what that is. So I said, listen, I want to be the auntie. I don't want to be the mommy. This is, his dog. And that's what my son was like. This is my dog. I'll take care of it. We already knew. My husband and I already talked about that, right? But what I didn't prepare for is that this week when they went back to school, I was taking care of the puppy. And she just wants to be held and played with. She's a puppy. And of course, bite viciously and tear up everything that she can get her hands on. So yesterday, it was like, this doesn't feel good, because there was a couple of times I had to clean up some poop and that sort of thing. And I didn't have time to do that, right? I didn't make the time to do that because I had my schedule. So we sat down yesterday and looked at what are the segments of our day that someone needs to be with her, and who can do those certain segments, right? And when I looked at it, I said, okay, I'll take between 7 and 7:45, right? That'll be my segment. I'm still needing to do stuff, get ready for, what I'm doing to prepare here and all that. But I said, okay, could I possibly change my perspective about this and change the way I feel about this? Not that, oh my God, I have to take care of her, or, whatever it is. How can I include her into getting ready and that sort of thing? So I committed to my family. This is the segment of the day. And of course, I'll play with her throughout the day or take her out, but where I'm responsible and she has to be taken care of, this is a segment of the day I'm committed to doing. So I did it. I did it joyfully. There was a little pee-pee somewhere, and I cleaned it up, and all is well. So one day at a time, one solution at a time. We'll see how the rest of the day goes for all those that are involved in taking care of her for the rest of the day. I'm done with my part for the day, and now I just get to play with her. So that feels like a good solution. Now, all right. So there was a question. What if buying was looking at investing in yourself? So she was saying that her vice is buying online courses. I love that, Jennifer. I love the reality of that. I have an addiction, or I have a vice to buying online courses, right? And the beautiful thing, and I love that Beth responded back to her, is it investing in yourself, or is it to continue to up level and learn, or are you using them to escape and numb out, right? Do you work the programs? Do you find yourself growing? Do you find that they are beneficial? Do you feel good when you're doing it? Because a vice is something that you do to get temporary relief, And doing work like this, being here with the council and doing the Vice Freedom Challenge and even going into the program, every time you show up, just being, if you don't do anything, just being in the field, being in this community, it's a vibration lifter. You don't even have to, you could just sit back. And I had one time a person that was in a course and came, she had to work and she came late and there was 5 minutes left to class. And her meeting got over, she jumped on the Zoom call, and within 5 minutes of her being there, she didn't even know what happened and what shifted and what processes and all that stuff. She didn't even know any of that. We have the recordings for it. But just by showing up for 5 minutes, she was like, oh, I was exactly what I needed. So vices are something that you do to feel better about, but it's a temporary relief. I think of like courses like this, for example, it's not a vice unless I did have a guy one time and I was like, I don't understand what that's about. I was speaking in California at the Learning Annex, for those of you that remember the Learning Annex, and I was in San Diego, and I was offering the Abundance Principle coaching program to those people in the audience, because that was the next class I was going to teach. And this guy was like, what do you have? I want to do creating your ideal body. I want to do magnetizing and manifesting. I want to do the abundance. He bought 5 courses from me and never showed up for any of them. Not one. And it's like, that's a vice. If he's going around buying every single thing, like he's buying, but he's not showing up and doing it, that's a vice. There's something there where that hit of, it might be even I'm going to create my ideal body. But then when it comes down to it, he talks himself out of it, or, I'm going to find my ideal partner. And he has the intention of doing it at the time, but there's like a little like dopamine, serotonin hit that happens. And he doesn't end up showing up and then getting the change that he wanted. So Jennifer, that was a great question. I appreciate that. I know there are other questions. If we don't get to answer all these questions, because we need to start on the day 6 Law of Detachment. These are perfect places to ask the council, Q&A. We have a Q&A 2 times this month, and it's included with the Vice Freedom program. So if you are enjoying this challenge and you're seeing yourself, and this is a big one today, because it's the Law of Detachment. When you can start feeling yourself detached from those vices, that's when you're shifting the energy. And I just want to say this, because I appreciate all of you, and I'm very grateful and I'm thankful, because the biggest compliment I can receive is having you show up and be here with me consistently. I know that your time is valuable and you do have choices, and the fact that you're here is something I am deeply grateful for. So thank you. I'm so grateful I get to do what I do. So the 6 essential universal law, or like I like to call them, the 7 essential law, is the law of detachment. And this for me is a freedom law. This is where vice freedom really comes in connection, because when we are detached, we are free. And we are free of the good opinions of others. Imagine being free from that, totally detached when someone has an opinion of something, right? That's possible. Someone has an opinion and you can be completely detached. To be free from the stress or the anxiety or the fear or the lower level emotion that others feel, so that you are feeling yourself, and that others can have their emotions, they can have their spaces, they can have their things that they're, because we're all human, we're always focused on something, right? What can I do to prove, how can I shift that? How can I align with, what energy I want to bring in? Even if we're working with energy, we're still working on stuff. But to be free of others' energy and their stress, that's what we're talking about, to detach from even that, because others' consciousness, which is what others say, what they feel, what they think, what they picture, perceive, what they do is up to them, just like we have free will and choice on what we say and what we think and what pictures we have in our minds and what we hold as an energy and emotion or what we do, right? We have free will and choice. Nobody is telling us not to or do. Maybe you do, but the fact is you are free, regardless if someone says, I don't like you doing that. Yeah, thanks, but I'm still doing it, right? That's the rebellion. Or they might have an opinion that might be different than yours. And to not feel you have to numb inside, but that you get to stand in your own energy to be free to have and do it all for yourself and figure it out and connect with yourself. Because when you practice and apply detachment, your life becomes one of contentment, one of peace, one of freedom. You get to be a cosmic 3-year-old enjoying the journey. And we had someone yesterday, Sandy, I just loved it. It was saying that she was doing the meditation or was doing the Vice Freedom yesterday, and it was kind of sprinkling a little bit. And as she was continuing her walk, it started pouring on her. And instead of being like, oh God, and trying to get back, and oh no, she was like a giddy little kid, a cosmic 3-year-old. Like the first time a child, if you have a grandchild or you have a young child, or you've had children, or you have you're an aunt or uncle, and you see a child look at a puddle and it's like, oh, it's on, right? Like that giddiness. Or even a puppy, when they see something like, I don't know, a toilet paper roll, they're like Joy did that this morning. She was just all over the toilet paper roll, thought it was the greatest thing ever. So it's the ability to find joy in all parts of the journey, no matter if you're getting poured on rain, right? So the law of detachment says, in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, you have to relinquish your attachment to it. We talked about that in the desire factor under the law of, or the principle of surrender, because as humans and with our personalities, with our big, beautiful, brilliant minds, we get a hold of a desire. And then we think we have to figure out the how, the when. So you're there, you receive an idea, a desire, and you're like, oh my gosh, I would love that. But then the mind kicks in and goes, well, who or how? I don't know how. When, where, who? It wants to know the answers to those questions, that in the moment of receiving a desire or an idea, that life-giving, that creation possibility, our mind shuts it down because it goes, well, how do we do that? I don't know how to do that. You don't know how to do that. Nobody knows how to do that. And it just brings down the energy, right? When, for example, if we are selling a house and we are attached to the when will it be sold? When will we get an offer? When? And we feel that stress and that anxiety or that fear, that's when we're off center. And that's when many of us can reach for vices. And P.S., by the way, we then get out in the way of the divine. And we want to not be in the way of the divine. We want to co-create with the divine. And when we are resisting something, we are stepping in the way of the divine because the energy wants to flow. And both the non-physical, divine, pure potential, abundant energy, and the physical us, physical you, has a job to do in the creation process. And of course, in changing anything that feels restricted, limiting, that just doesn't feel good, such as a vice, whether it's inner vice like worry, or it's an outer vice like drinking, smoking, whatever it is the divine's job to create the path to get the desire you've defined and provide you with the direction to get there, one step at a time. And our job as the action taker is to follow each step and sometimes ask for further direction or clarification if you need it along the way, get more information, but releasing the resistance, the attachment to things. Because as this relationship and creation unfolds, you receive the good that you desire, and then you get to celebrate. And then that builds trust with you and your divine source. And when you do your job, which is the action, taking full action, doing it with pride, doing it with care, the fullness, doing your best, when you do your job and not try to do the job of the divine, allow the divine to do its job, everybody gets what they want because now you're all in flow. And well, what's the job of the divine? Well, where you feel attached, that needs to be surrendered. Just the how, just the idea of, I don't know how I'm ever going to get rid of this vice. I have joy hair on my face, like puppy hair. I'm like, geez. But when you are detached and get out of the way, like we talked about in last session, get out of the way of pure potentiality, that energy flows. Because of the law of pure potentiality and the law of sufficiency and abundance, know what you are doing and what you are guided to do, and it's going to be revealed to you in perfect time. And detachment is the key to this co-creative process. It's also the key in letting go of a vice. And when you will be ready, some of you are, and I'd love to see that in the chat. How many days have you been off either sugar or smoking or drinking or gaming or shopping or worrying or procrastinating? I mean, have you stopped your vice? Have you started doing something different? Because it's a key to letting go of a vice. When you are ready to detach, you will feel the healing within yourself, and it will be an easy detachment. I remember over 25 years now, it's so hard to believe that, but I remember feeling so attached to smoking and quitting smoking. And nothing I did. I went to Nicotine Anonymous in the middle of South Chicago at night, and I would go to Nicotine Anonymous meetings. And I would throw out my cigarettes and say, I'm done with them. I throw out I throw out the cigarettes, I throw out the lighter, I throw out the whole shebang, the kit and caboodle of what I needed to have a cigarette. And then I would go buy them and throw them out. I'd have one and then I'd throw them out. One time I think I spent like almost $50 on lighters and cigarettes just in one day. And this is, again, 25 years ago. Because I was so attached, and it was like, I just need one. And so I would go and grab, I was so in this like energetic, the cigarettes were pulling me. I felt like I was at the power of the cigarette. The only thing that ever worked for me, and believe me, I tried everything, or at least it felt like I did. Nothing felt like it worked for me. What finally worked for me is detaching my perspective of being a smoker. I had to become a non-smoker. So I was attached to smoking and all identification with being a smoker and everything that meant. Like all the things I would need to smoke, like a cigarette and something to light the cigarette, somewhere to put it, probably a breath mint because I was conscious of that, or, some kind of lotion that had some kind of, I don't know, scent on it or something, but something that others wouldn't be offended by the smoke, as much as I could help that. I had to turn into a non-smoker. And then one day it happened. I was practicing my consciousness being seeped in. And this is long before I found out about law of attraction. This is probably I want to say it's maybe 26, 27 years now. I was seeped in the energy of, I'm a non-smoker. And I would carry myself like that, carry myself as the opposite of what I did. right? A non-sugar person or a non-drinker or whatever that was. Remember, with law of attraction and pure potentiality, there are countless ways that the universe can provide for you. And the universe has that bird's eye view on your life. And the divine has an expanded view with ways of delivering what you want in ways that your human mind can't even conceive of right now. And this time together, or the last few days, will obviously continue. We have one more day tomorrow for the Vice Freedom Challenge. And then for those of you that are joining for the rest of the month of January, and you get the bonus of the of the healing event on February 25th in Scottsdale, Arizona, or you can do the virtual aspect of it, is all this is about to help you heal and get over and past, or another way of saying it is get detached from your vices. For some of you, it's going to be a stepping stone that heals the process. It's going to be a healing process. For some of you, it would be one and done. For some of you, there might be more to dig into and more to understand. We're all on a different path with different timing. So in the case of vices, you decide that you're ready to feel unlimited. You have to decide that. Like, I decided I'm a non-smoker, even though I kept smoking, and even though I was still doing that, I was feeling my way into. I even gave myself, some of you know that story from the Desire Factor, from other configurations. I gave myself, when I really fully become a non-smoker, I want to go buy myself a nice purse, because someone, and this is what I did in my own head, someone that doesn't smoke, doesn't have cigarette, whatever that was, nicotine, or that the shreds of cigarettes at the bottom of their purse. They've got a nice purse and it's clean, and that sort of thing. So when I become that non-smoker and it physically has manifested, then I'm going to go buy myself a Coach purse. And that was a big stretch for me at the time, right? But that helped me with the thing I'm going to honor myself with, I'm going to reward myself with, right? But the thing is like, that was out there as that carrot. Sometimes we need those, right? I don't necessarily anymore, which is great, but that carrot of, ooh, do this and you get that, right? Now you just get to feel. What is it going to feel like? And if you are ready to feel good inside of you, you're the one that decides how you want to feel and what you want to experience. And then you allow the timing to unfold what's perfect for you. Like even this morning with the puppy. Okay, I'll take the puppy. I'm not going to have a bad attitude that I'm going to take care of a puppy. I'm stuck with a puppy, right? I could easily go there, but I choose. I want to feel good. I want to feel good all day long, and I want to feel good in this segment of time. And so this morning I felt good. Even though there was beepy, I still feel good, right? I want to say this doesn't mean that you're like, oh, whatever, I don't care about anything, so the puppy peed, right? This doesn't mean you have to create by default, or that you shouldn't desire or intend what you want to create. Remember, meant to be, luck, all of that is coincidence, all that's law of attraction. We need to work with law of attraction to create what we desire. We got to work with vibration, or another way of saying it is be in the space of abundance and come from the fulfillment of what you want, and know that that energy is there to fulfill you right now. And this means that the law of attraction, all the universal laws, and even the law of detachment work in harmony with all the laws. And it's important to understand that the law of detachment is really about faith. It's really about trust. Sometimes it might be, some people might be, and there's, again, no judgment on any of this. We're all on our own individual path. Hope is a much better place than someone else where they've been. And hope is relief from where they've been. And then there's a step up from hope that moves into trust. And trust is an acronym I like to use inside the Quantum Success Coaching Academy is that trust is to rely unto spirit totally, right? That's trust. And then there's faith, unshakable, unwavering faith. And these are the stages of how to work with the law of detachment, because how do you get into trust? How do you get into hope when you're over there? How do you get into trust when you're just in hope? How do you get into faith when you're in trust? We have to develop a consistent relationship with the divine, with source, with that non-physical part of us, to co-create with it. Well, how do you do that? Think about all the other relationships that you have. If they're important to you, if they're significant to you, you invest your time, your energy, your attention, your focus. And the same is true with this most significant relationship. If you have troubles in relationships, getting intimate emotionally and trusting, this is where the work is, because how you do relationships, that's a pattern. How you do relationships is how you will also approach the relationship with the divine, especially if there is a mental connection between. For me, for example, I learned that God is more masculine, and it's this vision that I had. And then in the Catholic Church, it was Jesus. So it was very masculine, who was the higher powers that were outside of me. It wasn't taught that I'm part of all energy and that God is not this man sitting on a cloud with a checklist like Santa Claus. Am I being good or bad? And when I started to have a bigger view of it, a better understanding, and that's because I was young too, and that was a limited perspective even within inside, what I could comprehend then. But when I started in my 20s, understanding that all is God, all is light, all is divine, all is light, and understanding it that as best as I could, I still would have issues that I had with my father, that emotionally unavailable, that I would project onto that God person or that God symbol. And so some of us do that with the male relationship. If the first relationship, mother or father, which represent, they're the takers, they're the providers, they're the source for us. If we have trouble in those relationships, that's where the work is, because how you do that relationship will be how you also approach the relationship that you have with the divine, in the way of, can I trust? Can I be intimate? If you have a hard time with intimacy, that is a growth and a healing point for you. And that's going to be able to, something you're going to be able to heal, joining us, continuing on, connecting, developing your relationship. Because when you know, like there's that knowing that the divine or spirit will give you what's in your highest interest. And sometimes it might be different than we think it should be, right? I want that, and the higher interest is over here, but we're stuck, we're attached. But I want that man. And the divine's over here going, but there's one better. You're going to like this one more over here. But I want this job. It's got to be this job. And we're so attached to it. It's got to be this way, right? And the divine's over here going, but there's like a gazillion over here. There's like so many other ways that you're attached to this one, and this one's not in your best interest. It's not in your highest interest. So that detachment, when we feel that sense of like, it's got to be this one, and we're clinging, or I got to know the how and the when and the what, that sort of thing. That's when we have to detach. And sometimes it's taking an exercise. Like, yesterday I was talking about the puppy and what are we going to do? We need to find a solution. For me, it was like, what's the big solution? What's the big solution? Just, what's the big, when I grounded myself and went, there's a lot of little solutions. It's not just one solution. There's aspects and parts of it. So I'm going to sit down. I'm going to trust the universe, that the universe, council, divine, however you want to call that source, knows the perfect timing. And when I get out of the way of the resistance, the solution can come through. That's what I did. I took out my journal and I was like, segment 1 of the day. That's this part. Segment 2, that would be 7 to about 8 o'clock. That would be my part, right? These are segments. Okay, am I willing? Does that feel good to me? Could I change my perspective on that? Because here's the segment that I need the solution for me. The rest of the day is up to the rest of the family for us to figure it out together, but I'm not responsible for all these other times. This is my time, and I'm okay with that. And that allowed me to detach from the resistance that I had. And when we detach from any type of resistance, everything flows faster. Healing happens faster with grace and ease. And if we stand in the way of the energy creating an outcome or result because of lack of trust, or we're feeling insecure, or we're feeling fearful, or we're angry, or we're frustrated, we're putting a barrier in the way of blocking the efficiency of that flow, of that energy, of that source by our resistance. So by learning to trust and to live in the wisdom of everything is uncertain. I mean, we don't have certainty, but the divine does. And that's where we get to surrender over. I don't know what the rest of the day is going to bring. My intention is to feel really good in my day. And I'm going to detach from the uncertainty of that, because then I'm going to look at, wait a minute, this whole day has unlimited opportunities being created in the present moment right now. Remember the law of pure potentiality. But as a human being in these big, beautiful minds that were designed to know things and figure things out and strategize things, that they're helping us live here. We need these minds. As a human being, we want to know, our minds, our personalities want to know everything that's happening and will for the next 10 years down the road. But energy is available to us when we need it, and we follow and flow that energy. We don't need to know what energy we're going to have in 10 years, but if you want to do that, you can connect with your future self that's already holding that, because you're choosing that particular one deliberately. The divine gives us that energy that we can hold in our container and we can feel now. And so it's our job to trust that the feeling sense is the certainty, and to trust that and the details of everything else, that trust that that uncertainty or that unknown holds amazing surprise and delights for you or for us. And that way we approach the unknown or the uncertainty or the outcome that it will produce from a place of joyful expectancy. And if you're fearful or worried because you don't have all the answers, you don't know when your next client will show up, or when your ideal partner will appear, or when the house will sell, or what to do with the puppy, or when you're going to finally release that vice once and for all. The energy of fearful or worry or anxiety will create the outcome you do not want. But if you can be in a place of positive expectation and trust, then good will come to you. It is law. It's law of attraction. More light, which is good, will continue to flow with you and through you and partner with you. Remember the law of sufficiency and abundance. If the energy you are giving to anything is lack, you will receive lack coming back. And if it's in your focus and attention is in abundance and feeling good, abundance and more feel good must manifest. So see how all the laws work together. Detachment is another way of saying allowing. And allowing is that inner state of being. Detachment is related to how we have a relationship with the things that we want. It's an outer expression of the inner relationship that we have with ourselves and the things that we hold inside of ourselves. And when we know it will work out, whatever it is, we can find that peace and that flow. So it's when you combine your intentions and detach from the outcomes that your desires will manifest, even if you don't know the who, the how, the details of it. You surrender, you detach. And that's when change and transformation can occur. Again, this isn't to say don't make goals or don't take action steps. Absolutely, we have to. That's our part of the thing. I'm the last person to say don't take action, because I believe the secret to my success and thousands of clients that I've had the honor of supporting over the years, it's all about alignment and momentum. And it's our job to take the momentum, even in the momentum of a thought or the momentum of an energy. That's our free will and choice. The momentum of connection with our vices, right? That connection, take your hand, cut the cord, and feel the detachment to it. Let yourself feeling compassion. Practice today being with triggers, finding what triggers you and allowing yourself to surrender it and detach from those triggers. So some of the things, and you know, there's some of the things that triggers you. It could be, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. Someone says something to you. It's time to practice detachment. So 2 points I want to make that's important for our Vice Freedom Challenge is, number one, there is nothing wrong with any of these tools unless you make it wrong by your judgments. If you are going to eat chocolate and that's your vice and you're not ready to give up the vice, eat it differently. Take the chocolate, look at the chocolate, be present with the chocolate, smell the chocolate. Don't shove it in your mouth like you're trying to hide it from so nobody else sees you doing it. Take a piece, enjoy it. Don't have a judgment about it. Don't use it as a way to feel badly about yourself or to beat yourself up, because that's the underneath vice of persecution, of beating yourself up. If you're going to smoke the joint, smoke it. Enjoy all the benefits about it, but don't judge yourself before, during, or after. Allow yourself to be with, notice what you notice about it, what you like, what it does for you. And when we're doing something in our lives that feels like it's something that's limiting us, like complaining, that we feel, well, that doesn't feel good. It's causing me to feel bad. It's kind of affecting everybody else around me. I noticed that one day I was like, just complaining about everything. And I looked up and my kids and my husband were looking at me like, who are you? I mean, it literally, like, that field affected them. And I'm like, was I complaining? And they were all like, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, okay, that allow myself to feel the compassion without judgment. Because if I would then go into judgment and complain about myself, or they would complain about me, then we're all stuck in a very low vibration, which, leads to being in the drama triangle anyways, staying stuck in there. It becomes just a very vicious cycle. So before we go, the second thing that's really important that I want everybody to just understand about detachment and vices. When the vice is used as a way to fill you up, to help you escape, to help you feel in control, help you deal with anxiety or loneliness, it's taking you away from your unlimited nature. When you go outside to use something and not use it as an opportunity to return back to the energy, first, just even the energy of compassion, if what you are craving, if you're in a state of resistance, you're not allowing the fullness of who you are. The thing that you're craving can only be satisfied by connection to the divine. And the cravings are ultimately the energy that you want to experience. You want to feel the connection. You want to feel safe. You want to feel grounded. You want to feel joy. You want to feel secure. You want to feel freedom. Those cravings are what you're wanting, but you're reaching for something that can't give it to you only for a minute. So allow yourself to cut the cord to it, return back to the center, allow yourself to feel compassion, not judgment, and fill yourself up from what you want. I want to feel connected. I want to feel secure. I want to feel that freedom. Allow yourself to, instead of being over here and going further away by using the vice, if you're here, you're very short, just compassion away. So let yourself feel that compassion. And really quick, go ahead and just feel the relationship that you have with your vice. The releasing and detachment, that's what you're working on today. Which is total non-judgment, curiosity, and full compassion. When you feel a call to do it, just pause and ask, what am I called to feel? What is that thing going to do for me that divine can give me right now? That's the tool for today. So go ahead and go to ChristyWhitman.com, Vice Freedom. I know Beth has probably posted the links everywhere. We have one more day of the challenge, which is tomorrow, where we are going to be talking about the law of polarity, which will help you detach from your vices even more. The affirmation for today that you can use as that tool is, I open to new, original, creative, expansive, and fresh thoughts. Now, again, you might say, hey, I am open to new ideas instead of connecting to the vice. I am open to new energy. I am open to new ways of getting what I want. So it's all about being in alignment with, understanding with the tools. Make sure you're drinking your water and making that water be part of the essence that you want to bring forth. Remember, you can push a reset button anytime you want and allow yourself to just feel that compassion energy. And we're looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow for the law of polarity. Appreciate you all. Thank you.